No, I hadn't done a video in a while, so just been busy with all kinds of stuff. At the end, I'll kind of go over of what all I've been up to, so feel free to skip or end the video there or whatever. But I posted this on a couple different pages, I guess, of how I did the LED lights. This is on my 2015 Cadillac Escalade. This should also work, but don't hold me to it, to a Tahoe Suburban, GM. So if you look at the interior lighting, there's two lights there that, I mean, for what they are, they're fairly decent, I guess, to shine in this area. Even with the seat down, those two little lights are not going to get all the way back here. And then whenever you have one or both of these third row seats in here, when it's at night, it is super hard to see anything going on in the back here. Again, even with the seats down, it's still hard to see. So what I did was I installed some lights, and I'll just go over it real quick. So I got two LED 24-inch light strips. So this is what the LED light strip looks like. It is rated for 12 volts. So at this end you have your positive and a negative. It does have adhesive. It's the 3M adhesive, which is normally pretty good adhesive strip, but for whatever reason this is a plastic that's got texture on it, and same thing with this. It didn't want to stick to it for nothing. So what I did was I got a 1/8 inch thick by 1 inch aluminum bar, and I'll show you how I made that here right now. Okay, so the way I made the end piece was I basically just used that. I moved that all the way to, well, let's just pretend like that's the end, like that. And I just had it like that, marked it out with the marker. And then I actually used since it's aluminum, I used a carbide wood blade on a jigsaw and cut all of that out. Now how I did the little round things is I just checked one of these fiber discs in here. I forget what you call them. Rolock discs. And I measured it out, so I'd push that down, and then I counted, and I turned the wheel 1, 2, 3, 4. I'd push it down, I'd roll this over 1, 2, 3, 4, and then push it down again, and then roll it back 1, 2, 3, 4, push it down again, and I just kept doing that all the way down, and so it gave that look. And then as far as the so whenever I cut this out, after I cut this out, whenever I was done with that, I use these carbide burrs on a rotary. I was able to tuck into these corners a little bit better, and that helped a lot. And then once I was done with that, I just came in at an angle, and after I was done with this, it made little dots, and so I did a little sideways thing in between the two dots, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's how I did that. It's pretty easy. It took a while. It was tedious. I burned through, I think, 3 of these discs to do about 26 inches or so. 26 or 20. It's either 26 or 28 inches, I don't remember. But anyways, there you go. I just hadn't had time to do much of videos lately, so I do apologize for not doing a lot of videos. I've just been super busy with the boys, driving me away from with the boys putting me on their driving projects, and then just regular work and life and just regular fix-it stuff around the house. Okay, that's how I did that. So fairly simple. It's just kind of tedious, but you can see the little circles that I was talking about, and in between the circles, that's where I did the little half cut or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so we got the light strip that comes in, and I noticed I didn't glue right here. I was actually doing this at night. So hang on, car coming. Okay, so we got the light comes out through here. We have the, I just painted this black so it's not as stand outish or whatever you call it. Anyways, so light comes in through here, or the wire comes in back through this panel, comes back behind here all the way to about here, and then comes out this little hole here, under and through here. You can actually peel this out, and what I did was I got a coat hanger with a very dull end and wedged that through there and tied the wire onto that. I didn't have enough wire, so I actually used speaker wire, which, I mean, professionally you're not supposed to do. I don't know why, but the speaker wire is way more thicker than the LED strip wires. But anyways, the wires only came to about here or so I tied in a length of speaker wire to that, tied the end of the speaker wire to the end of the coat hanger, lubed it up with WD-40, squeezed it through here, down through there, pulled it out, pulled the rest of it out. And then now we get to where this light is, and as you can see, there's a whole bunch of little holes. And basically I just lined up the LED lights, and I just put a Sharpie mark everywhere there was an LED light. So I got the LED light up from here, and everywhere there's a hole there's an LED light. So I just drilled a hole, and then we super glued we hot glued all that in there. It did have some of these ribs that's all along this back piece, and I just broke all of them off because it ain't doing nothing structural, I guess, as far as I can tell. And if a piece of plastic is going to save my life, then I'm not putting my trust in that. Anyways, one issue that I did find, and before I even started this, is that there is always a little bit of a gap. And come to find out, they're supposed to have these little metal clips on top of these red clips, and that actually holds it into where it needs to be. And for whatever reason, it was missing. So hopefully that's why this wasn't staying up tight like it should, because it should be up like that. Okay, so we had the one wire, then now we had the two wires, I guess a total of 4 wires. We ran this back down through here, down to here. Now, okay, so now we're back here. We have the 4 wires running together. I basically took the positive and the positive and put those together, and the negative and negative and put those together. So now we're back to just having 2 wires. And if you look back behind this panel, conveniently there is a little fuse block. I found that this fuse here, and I forgot what it goes to, but it has constant power. And what I was originally going to do was I was going to run these lights up to the dome light. So whenever the dome light was on, these lights back here were on. But I wanted a little bit more versatility because maybe I want them on whenever the dome light isn't on. So I put in a switch over here. I got to looking for an auxiliary power, and whenever I took this off, I found this, and I didn't even know this was back here. So I looked around. I found one of these that had power all the time. This is a 20 amp fuse, and so for my LED lights I just have a 5 amp. If you don't know how these work, you still have your regular factory 20 amp fuse, but then you have a 5 amp fuse for whatever you're running, if that makes sense. So your 20 amp fuse is basically connected from there to there. So whatever this circuit is, it'll always have a 20 amp fuse. And then this one is connected from there to there. And then that power goes, so it goes from power here through the resistor, or through the fuse to this wire to give you power on this side. You want to make sure that you pull out your fuse first and find out which side has power. So one side's going to have power, the other side is not. And so you need to make sure that you get that right, because if you do it the other way around, you'll always have power and it's not going to go through your fuse. So on this one, power comes from this side, goes through your fuse, comes out this side. So that gives you the power wire, or where we're getting our power from. It goes up to the switch, and the switch is basically a connector. And then once it's turned on, it connects those wires to the other wires coming down. So this was part of the 4 wires that came down that were into 2 wires. So that's the end of one wire, and then the ground goes back there. I hope that helps somebody out. I know it's kind of long, but I did want to be fairly thorough on how I did this. I think this did make a pretty clean look. I think I might come back in here with a deburr tool just to clean these little holes up a little bit better. Then also to get my clean up where I have my dirty hands rubbing all over the place. So yeah, this light strip works really good. I did bend this, and I think I needed to bend it a little bit more before. And maybe this hot glue isn't working. It's starting to pull off. But maybe I can use some, maybe I could come back and use some actual 3M tape on that. But anyways, so I hope that helps somebody out. If you have one of these SUVs like this, and it might be on a van or something like that that has an access port over here. So you'd think with these big expensive SUVs that would already be thought of, but I guess not. Alright, so I just wanted to do a night shot. So let's get this open real quick. So that's how much light there is with the seat down. Let me raise the seat up. And you can kind of quickly tell how much light there isn't compared to now, how much light there is. And we can back up. So you can see that there's plenty of light, so I can get back here and get into my different catalogs that we need. Our little promotional item giveaway kind of stuff that we do. and then we have a spot for my little dolly. And again, there's plenty of light all over the place. And so even if I'm working out here, there's a ton of light. Again, versus with the light out. And let's see my hand. Now you can't see anything. And again, we'll put the seats back down. So again, even here, it does give out for what these lights are. It does decent, but again, you can't see inside the box. You can't really see which catalog we're pulling out. But now I can. Alright, y'all comment, rate, and hang on, and we'll go through what the rest of the projects are that we've been doing. Alright, so this is my son's truck. He got it from my wife's grandfather and grandmother. They're no longer driving. So then my in-laws were driving it. They got T-boned, as you can see. It got totaled from that. They bought it back from insurance and then wound up selling it to my son. It did have a camper shell on it. You may or may not recognize this toolbox, but that was on my black Sierra truck that got T-boned as well, sitting in the driveway. Anyway, so that fits his perfectly. One issue they were having was the sending unit was going out. So you really never did know how much gas you had in there. You had to kind of calculate it and stuff, and I figured as a new driver, that's just one less thing I don't want him to have to worry about. So we pulled the cab off. Put a new sending unit in and a new fuel pump, since these fuel pumps are known for going out. Figured while we're there, might as well do that. So we did that. We installed the tow hitch that came from my old truck, and we have my cold air intake that came off my old truck. We put it on this one too. But anyway, so while we had the cab off, we kind of pushed these dents out as much as we could. I think we'll come back with a dolly and hammer and make it a little bit better. I'm no body person at all, so I don't know how well I don't know how well the finished product will be, but at least it's not dented in halfway. Still looks bad, but it's not as bad. The other thing we did, since it did have a cab, we used this bed liner, and we put this bed liner just around the rails because there was some rub through in a couple different spots. So did that. Since we did the sending unit and fuel pump, had him change out the fuel filter, showed him how to do that. He got gas everywhere. It's okay, learning experience. Did an oil change on this, so he's now good to go. The old F350. Installed the backup camera, and man, look at that. This has only been not even a month, and you can see how UV tarnished that is. That's crazy. But anyway, so we put that into the F350, and I'll be doing an oil change on that pretty soon. I actually found some Rotella T6 at Walmart of all places. It's like $150 $119, I think. Anyway, so grab that. I have the oil filter coming, so we'll be doing that. And I didn't record this, and I didn't record the my son's truck because there's a ton of videos out there probably way better than what I can do, so that's why I didn't do that. Now off to the 61 Apache C10. Got it running. So now the next thing we're doing is brakes. We're getting ready to bleed the brakes and do the clutch, and there's a broken brake line, so we're in the process of fixing that, and then still figuring out the electrical issue, why the coil is not hot with the key started. The coil is hot with the key on run. The coil is, there's no power to the coil, so I got to figure that out. Still have the old LC Smith Super Speed typewriter. Yeah, I probably need to put that up for sale. Oh, on the F350, I have a steering wheel cover. I like steering wheel covers because it makes the steering wheel thicker, so it's not as much fatigue on your hands. I do have a small light bar I'm going to put on the front bumper. This is the Pioneer radio that I went with. This is the license plate review camera that I went with. And again, it's a good camera, but I can't believe it already faded like it did. Oh, and there's some pod lights. I am still planning on building a rear bumper with pod lights in the rear. The old Corvette, yeah, still here, still dirty, still not being used. I just hadn't had motivation to do this. I've had so much other stuff going on, but carburetor needs to be redone. And I really don't want to put Tom into that because I do have the EFI system ready to be put in, but I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do and where I want to put the electrical. Alright, so to the Bobcat 310. I had the hydraulics working. They were working great. I showed the video of it, and then all of a sudden they just stopped working. So I don't know what the deal is with that. Tried to start it back up, and then I was getting a really bad wire that was grounding out, and come to find out it was the stator. In order to get this cover off, you got to take the cover off, then we got to take the flywheel off, and I think the only way to do that is to actually remove the motor, and that's a real pain in the butt, and I don't really want to take the time to do that. I have this up for sale. Honestly, kind of expensive because I don't really want to get rid of it, but at the same time, if I can get what I'm asking for it, I'll part with it. But yeah, you can see here's the old Kohler motor. But anyway, so I can't really finish figuring out. I think the cylinders and the pump and all that's good. I think I just need to bleed out all of the air that's in the system that's been in there for however long. I think once all of that is out, I think it'll be running good. Just needs a stator. So that's where we're at with that. I don't know if I showed last time, but I did pick up a whole bunch of metal. And this is kind of what I'm going to build my my bumper on, and I'm also wanting to do a plate compactor, and we'll probably use that piece down there. Appreciate all the subscribers. Look on the bottom in the description area, and I'll put links to the different items that I used. So, all right, y'all. Well, y'all comment, rate. Tell me what you think about it. We'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching. See ya.